Today we are talking about 5.1 and 5.2 transformations. When in vertex form, you can tell how something transforms. Transformations are how something moves left, right, up, down, flipped upside down, gets skinny or fat. Every graph is based off of the parent graph, which is the graph that was shown in the last video. So when it starts at 0, 0, and looks just like that. Transformations look somewhat like the parent graph, but are different in not least one way. So what I like to call these are, you've got your parent graph, which is the original one, and then you've got the kid graph, which is how this moves and switches upside down and all these things. So you don't necessarily need this up here, but you do need these right here. Okay, so translates as moves left and right or moves up and down. If it moves left and right, the h is not 0. So your h is going to be a number other than 0. If it's up and down, your k is not 0. You've got two types of reflection. The x-axis, which is the one we see in the quadratics, but if we're doing something else, we would have a y-axis. So the x-axis flips it upside down. That's when your a is negative outside of the parentheses. If your a is negative inside the parentheses, it flips over the y-axis. And this is why it doesn't happen on a quadratic, is because if it's inside the parentheses, then that's getting squared too, and so it's a negative squared as a positive. We have a horizontal compression, which is the same as a vertical stretch. It gets skinny. Okay, so instead of taking it like this, it's going to go and squeeze in and get skinny. Now if you have a horizontal stretch or vertical compression, it's going to get fat. So it's going to get skinny when a is bigger than 1, but fat when a is between 0 and 1. Remember, we don't have negative a's because negative a means that we're going to flip it upside down. So no, if you have a horizontal stretch or compression, so if it's horizontal, that's the key word. If it's horizontal stretch or compression, then your a will be inside the parentheses beside your x, so it'll look just like this. If you have a vertical stretch or compression, only the x is squared, so your a is not inside parentheses with that. So let's try some of these. Use the graph of f of x squared, this is your parent, as a guide. Describe the transformations of each function. Okay, so remember our formula for this was, in vertex form, was ax minus h squared plus k. So if it's in vertex form, we've got this 3, which is the h. Okay, so if it is, remember h, we have to switch signs, so it's a negative 3, and that's our h. H moves left and right. So if it's negative, it's going to translate left 3. And this 1, because it's your k, that's what makes it go up and down. Since it's positive, it's going to translate up 1. There's no number out here and no negative, so we're good. This one, we've got a negative 2, so opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. Remember, the numbers inside go left and right. If it's positive, it's going to go translate right 2. And that negative 1 makes it translate down 1. So all these on the outside back here are going to make it go up and down. All the ones on the inside are making it go left and right. Now this does not have a number inside the parentheses, right? So that means that h is 0. There's no parentheses. So it's just going to move that negative 5. Since it's on the outside, it's just going to translate down 5. So we've got this one here. So opposite of 3, because it's inside, is negative. Negative means left, so translate left 3. And then translate that 2 makes it go down 2. Now this has a negative. So the negative makes it going to reflect over the x-axis, and I want to see it just like this. Reflect over x-axis, and that 1/4. Okay? It is not in parentheses, Okay, so it's going to be vertical, so we know that. And it's a fraction. It's between 0 and 1. So between 0 and 1 makes it a vertical compression. This one, that 3 is inside. Okay, inside, remember, if it's inside, was horizontal. Horizontal. But we're bigger than 1, and bigger than 1, horizontal compression. We really should write of 3 and of 1/4. Sorry. Okay, we've got 2 more here. 2 is on the inside. Remember, inside means horizontal. Okay, and then that 2, because it's bigger than 1, means horizontal compression again of 2. Oh, this has a negative and a 1/2, and it's not inside the parentheses. Outside of the parentheses means vertical. If it's a fraction, it's going to be compression. Sorry, of 1/2. That negative means a reflection over the x-axis. And sometimes you're going to have word problems here, and we're going to have to write the equation. So use the description to write the quadratic function in vertex form. So the parent function is this. Okay, it is reflected across the x-axis and translated 5 units left and 1 unit up to create g. So this is going to tell me what we're going to do. So g, that's our kid, of x equals, we might have a negative, we might have an a, we're going to have some numbers here and here. Okay, so do we have a negative? Is it reflected? Yes. So we're going to have a negative number right there. So I'm filling in my blanks if possible. It does not say vertical stretch or compression or horizontal or anything, so we don't need that, so it's just negative. Now it says we want translated 5 units left. Left is going to, so that means -5, right? But remember, if it's inside, we want opposite of negative, which means +5. And then 1 unit up. That's a +1, so +1 in the back. So here's our g of x equals negative x plus 5 squared plus 1. So this right here is our answer for that. The parent function f of x equals x squared is vertically compressed by a factor of 1/3 and then translated 2 units right and 4 units down to create g. So g of x, so let's do it in order, vertically compressed. Okay, if we are doing vertical, it is outside of, not in parentheses. So vertically compressed of 1/3, so I'm going to write 1/3, and on the inside I'm going to write x, translated 2 units right. So right is a +2, so opposite of +2 is -2 squared, and then 4 units down. Down means minus, so -4. And there we go. Last one. The parent function f of x equals x squared is reflected across the x-axis, vertically stretched by a factor of 6, translated 3 units left to create g. So we've got g of x equals, reflected across the x-axis means to make the a negative. We are vertically stretched, okay, vertically is outside the parentheses again, by a factor of 6, so -6 parentheses. Translated 3 units left. So left means -3, so x plus 3, so opposite, squared. There's no up and down, so I can put a +0, that's here, but we don't have to write it.